Okay, I'm going to show you how to build the best squeeze page for lead generation. So in this video, I'm going to be building out this squeeze page in real time for you so you know exactly how to build this out inside ClickFunnels. Now, if you don't want to follow along and just want this squeeze page, click the link in my description, fill out this form, and I'll immediately send you this squeeze page completely free, and you can start using it today. And I will also send you to the One Funnel Away challenge, where not only will you learn how to build out these squeeze pages like me, but you'll learn how to start your own online business so you can start earning money online. I took this challenge back in 2020 and it has literally changed my entire life. So I highly recommend you join this challenge. So just click the link in the description. Okay, so to get started, we are here inside ClickFunnels, and what I'm going to do is click on Start from Scratch, and I need to name my funnel, Best Squeeze Page, and the URL also gets updated as well. Then click on Create Funnel, and now we need to build out the first step in our funnel, and that is the opt-in page. So I'm going to click on this button and click on Create a New Page, and ClickFunnels already has tons of opt-in pages for you to choose from. There are many good ones, but I want to build out my custom one. So I'm going to click on New Page, and we need to name the page. I put down opt-in. You can add a page description if you want, and the page URL is automatically the same as the page name. Then click on Create Page. Okay, so this is our opt-in page. So to edit the page, just click on Edit, and now we start with a blank slate. So ClickFunnels works in sections, rows, and columns. So just think of the page in those types of simple containers. Okay, so I'm going to click on Add a New Section, and I'm going to click on a blank section, and it's a one column row. Then for the elements, I'm going to click on Headline. So now we have the bare bones of this top part right here. So I'm going to copy this text. Now this text is called the kicker text or the eyebrow text. So it acts as a mini hook to draw people in and prevent them from exiting out of your squeeze page. So this one says, special offer, 100% free access this month only. So I'm going to go back to ClickFunnels and I'm going to paste that text right here, and we can edit the text however we want. I'm going to click on this gear icon, and here is where we edit the headline. So I'm going to remove all of the padding so there is no white space above or below the headline. And for the typography, this is the standard style, but I want to override this style. So I will click on Override and change the font family to Railway. I love that font, so I'm going to click on Railway, and I'm going to change the weight to regular, and I'm going to update the font sizes as well. Okay, so I updated the font size for desktop, and you can specify the font size for mobile as well, so it looks perfect on any device your users are on. And in terms of the color, I just want it to be purely black for the standard text. And if I want to bold any of the text, I of course want the bolded text to be black as well. So I'm going to choose black. Okay, so our headline is done. Now we need to update the background. So I'm going to hover over the section, click on the gear icon, and update this section. So I'm going to remove the padding on top and below. And for the background, the important part, so like that it stands out, I'm going to click on background for the color. So you can add a solid color or a gradient, or if you have colors in your style guide, you can choose from the colors in your style guide. But I'm going to go back to custom and add my custom hex code, which is this green. I'm going to click back to solid. Okay, there we go. So we have our background. Now I'm going to highlight special offer and bold it so people can immediately see that this is a special offer just for them. Now that I look at it, the top and bottom is a little too narrow, so I can hover over the row and click on settings, and I can increase the padding for the top maybe to 30, and also the padding for the bottom to 30 as well. So there is some breathing room. Okay, so now we need to work on this main section right here. So I'm going to click on Add Section. It's going to be a blank section, and it's going to be one column. Now I'm going to add a 2-column row, so one for the image and one for the form. So for the left column, I want to pick the image element right here. So I'm going to drag that over here, and we'll worry about the second column in a moment. And one thing I want to point out is that ClickFunnels makes it very easy for you to create unique landing page elements without you having to do the work, okay? So instead of choosing any of the blank categories like what I'm doing, you could go to Universal, and they have universal blocks, okay? So these are all created blocks for you that you can choose from. So those are all of the rows. But for example, if you want to add like a section, these are all of the sections that are pre-designed for you by professionals. And if you like one, just click on it and it'll automatically get populated. So this is the easiest way to use ClickFunnels, but I want to show you the manual way just so you know how to use ClickFunnels. Okay, so I want to change this image, so I'm going to click on it, and for the image URL icon, I'm going to click on that. And I have tons of images already, but I'm going to click on the Optin image, which is this one, and here we go. So this is the image, but I do need to resize it, so I'm going to click onto it again and update the top margin, make it a little taller. And for the fit, it's pretty big, so I'm going to click on scale down so it's much more smaller. It looks much better as well. Okay, so that should be good for now for the image. Now let's work on this right column. Now actually, before we work on the right column, I want to add a background to this section. So I'm going to click on the gear icon, and for the background, I'm going to click on the image URL icon and find the background, and it's this one right here. Okay, so now we have a background and we can kind of see the section much more clearly, right? So there's this white background. So for this section, I'm going to make this transparent. So I'm going to click on settings, and for the background right here, I'm going to click this background and I'm going to drag this all the way to 0%. So now the section is transparent and we can see the background more clearly. Now let's work on this second column. So I'm going to click on the column settings. So now I'm going to click on column settings, and I first want to add a background so I can actually see the form, okay? So I'm going to click on background. It's white, so it's perfect. I also want to make the corners more rounded because this 90 degree is a little too sharp. So I'm going to toggle the corners on, and I want to change all corners to 15 pixels, so much more softer. Now I also want to update the padding because I think it's a little too tall for me. It doesn't look too nice when it's competing with my image. So I'm going to update the pixels for the padding. So I updated the pixels for the padding, but when it comes to the actual white part, let me go back. I want to update the row paddings as well, so it looks much more visually easy on the eyes. And right now the column height is full, but I'm going to do auto. So as we add things to this right column, it'll naturally expand. So that's what I want. So really when it comes to designing these opt-in pages, you want to make sure the size and the position and the white space all looks really nice. And it requires a lot of trial and error. Okay, now let's add the headline for our form. So I'm going to click on add new element and click on headline. I'm also going to click on headline again because what I want to do is copy steal all of, which will be this first part. I'm going to paste that, and I'm going to copy and paste the My Marketing Tools part of my headline. Okay, now I just need to update the sizing and the text. Okay, so I updated the sizing, the text, and I think it looks really good. Now what I want to do is, I think what we could do is move the column to the left so that now there's more space for the form and there's less white space between the form and the image. So I think that looks better. Now I'm going to add another element and add a divider just so we could separate the headline and the additional text below it to make it more easy to read for our audience. So I'm going to change the color to our recently used, which is this nice sage teal color. I'm going to reduce the width to, let's just say 40%. The height will be, oh, that's a little too high. So I'm going to do 2 pixels, this medium or centered aligned, and the padding is good. Okay, perfect. Okay, now let's work on the rest of the text. So The rest of the text is this, so I'm going to copy that and click on Add Element, click on Paragraph, copy this and paste. Perfect. And I'm also going to copy this one right here, the free bonus. I can also duplicate, so I'm going to duplicate this paragraph so I don't need to go and find it. And I'm going to paste that text. Now I'm going to update the font, the sizing, and the spacing. Okay, so we have that complete. Now we need to add the actual form fields. So add element, go to form, and click on input 2 times. So one for the name and the second for the email. So for the name, I'm going to hover over the first one, click on settings, and for input type, I'm going to click on first name. And I want it to be required, and the label text is going to be first name, which is exactly what I want. Now you can also edit the label states. So the default, like how it looks right now, focused means when someone clicks on it, and then value is when someone starts typing. So what I want to do is update the default label state because I don't think the font looks too nice. So I want to change the default label state to that railway font. So I'm going to click on font family and search for railway. Okay, now it looks much better. And now I'm gonna do the same treatment for the email. Okay, so we are almost done. Let's add the button element. So I'm gonna go back to form and click on the button element. Okay, now I'm gonna hover over the button, click on the gear icon, and let's set this one up. Okay, so I'm gonna make the top margin just a little larger as we're gonna make this button much bigger. So for the button text, I'm gonna change that to access my checklist now. And for the subtext, I'm going to add uncover 30 plus secret marketing tools. Now, one thing I like about ClickFunnels is that you can add subtext. And I don't know of any other tool that I've used recently that allows you to add 2 different types of text inside a button. And I think that increases conversions quite a bit. So I really like that about ClickFunnels. And for the button action, so when someone clicks on it, I want them to submit the order or the form, to submit it. And we can enable a redirect override. Okay, so this is where you can take them either to the next page of the funnel or to another URL that has this freebie that you are offering. So my freebie is a checklist, which is a Google spreadsheet. So what I would do is add a link to my Google spreadsheet, but you could add a link to any website that has your freebie. So this is where you would add that in. And now we need to update the size and the spacing of our button. So I want it full width. I want the padding size to be 40 pixels, and the vertical I think is good. And for the button style, I want to override and change the background to that sage teal color. So we updated the primary text style with the font, the weight, and all of the spacing correctly set up. Now let's do the subtext style. So I'm going to change the font to railway as well. Okay, perfect. And I also want to update the corner of the button because I think it's a little too sharp. So for the corners, I want to round it to 10 pixels so it's much softer. All right, now actually I'm looking at the primary text font size. So I'm just going to make that a little smaller so it looks better like this. Okay, perfect. And then now we need to add the text just below the button. Okay, so I'm going to click on add element, click on paragraph. Now, if you don't want to constantly be changing the font to whatever you want, you could basically just clone a previous paragraph you worked on already. So I cloned it, and then I can just basically drag that text wherever I want. So now it's much faster and easier for me to update this new text. Okay, the font and the spacing is already set for me because I duplicated it from up here. Now I just need to make it much smaller. Okay, so we are all done. I think this looks really good. Now we need to add the footer. So I'm going to add section, blank section, 1 column. And this is where we can just add links to our privacy policy and terms. So I'm actually going to duplicate this again and then just drag it over to this section, and then you can link to your own privacy policy and terms and conditions. And I also want to make the font size just a little smaller so it doesn't overbear the reader. Okay, and one thing I'm noticing is that the background, you could see it's not fully stretched out the way I want it. So I'm going to hover over this main section, click on settings, and for the image style, I want to do full center. Okay, so now it looks much better. Okay, and I think the white space is a little too tall up here, so I'm just gonna hover over this section and click on the settings, and then just reduce the padding top to 0 so the white space is much better, I think, like this. Okay, so we are basically done with our squeeze page for lead generation. I think this template is one of the best squeeze pages anyone can use. The layout is perfect. It has an image. It has this kicker text, the headline, additional text about the freebie, the form, the button nicely designed, really large. And of course, we can add additional things to this opt-in page if we wish, but I think this is perfect as is. So now we just need to click on save and we are essentially done. Now, if you want this exact squeeze page, don't forget to click the link in my description, fill out this form for instant access, and I'll also send you to the One Funnel Away sign up page where you can not only learn how to do what I'm doing, but also learn how to start your own online business. So don't forget to sign up. And with that said, if you enjoy these types of tutorials, let me know by clicking the like button below and leave any questions in the comments. I'll answer them and I'll create additional videos for you in the future. And also subscribe to my channel to be the first to be notified of any future videos I put out. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.